And so then I decided the way I should really tackle this project is by thinking about the elements as modular pieces, right? If I want to build this piece and cast it, then I could put it elsewhere in the town, but be able to create different looks by using different pieces together. So I was sort of breaking up this idea, and this is definitely going to be the way I'll be pursuing it technically, in that I will be designing a modular system to put all of these buildings together, because I will never be able to build them all by scratch, and I really need to think about efficiency for their overall design. During this process, more towards the end of what I've been showing you, I decided to go out and really scan for Lord of the Rings imagery. I had found some pictures, you know, some clips here and there from some games and whatnot, but I've compiled a much more comprehensive list of photos from a variety of sources to give a better sense of what, you know what, I don't think this is right, actually. It was labeled, and anyway, let's skip that one, don't worry about that. But of course, an image of Rivendell, and then I found recently WIP's model that they produced. This is really valuable for me. Seeing the kinds of architectural elements that they've put into it, seeing the you know, the way they've accentuated the buildings with depth, you know, in these curved window entrances. This is something I'll definitely be doing. The you know, the elements on the towers, and you know, even here along this walkway stuff, all sorts of goodness there that I felt was like really helpful. I found some video game images which I thought were helpful also, and this is one that I thought was a good example of what I meant by Middle Eastern influence. You know, these are very minaret-like. These are very mosque-shaped in essence. We have a lot of that influence in this architecture, and perhaps, wait a minute, let's see if I can find it. Oh man, I've got files, photos everywhere, trying to keep this organized. All right, hold on. Just for fun, I thought I would show you my reference folder while I dig around for it. So I have been collecting a ton of images. I have folders within the folders of all these different kinds of categories. I just keep adding and adding and adding to this reference library. I'm really excited about how it's been growing over time, right? All of these different kinds of buildings under that heading. And we're going to take a quick look at mosques just so I can show you what I mean. All right, so if you think back to some of the minarets here and some of the towers that you've been seeing, you know, incorporate some similar archways and the domes. You know, this is mosques. They're amazing, crazy pieces of architecture. Really liked, you know, this sort of repeating, you know, archways. Another shot, look at how these buildings are built, very similar to what was in that game. Oh, by the way, that game image was from, what is it, Graydale? I don't know. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. We'll see it in a second, I'll remember the name. But just to run through a couple quick mosque photos to give you a sense of how it's really borrowing some elements from these structures in some of their incorporations. This obviously is not, but it was really cool. I just grabbed it anyway. All right, let's get out of there. And let's go back to the Lord of the Rings references here. Oh, Grey Havens, that's it. All right, and let's see, can I, oh good. And this is another Grey Havens shot from sort of conceptual art, I think. But again, right, how does that look? That looks very much like the Middle Eastern imagery we were just looking at. And here's a couple close-ups of a couple of the WIP pieces. Actually, I've got these photos. We'll probably run again. This is from a game. I don't know what game it is, but I was like, oh, this is great. This is great. I've really been struggling on how to think about the towers for different parts and what's the arrangement of things against the wall. And this just opened my eyes up to so many options. And thinking again, I think I've got bigger ones of these. I'll keep going. All right, well, thinking again about Asian influence, right? If you look here, this is a very Asian style. So is this right in here. Obviously, it's not perfectly Asian, but you can tell where those inspirations have come from. A couple more close-ups of that. Here was an interesting one of some elf iconography. A little bit more. And the client sent me this one to use as some inspiration for orcified areas. And this was an interesting sketch that was just a very, very simple, roughed out sketch, but shows you some concepts about composition and carrying a similar motif throughout all these big oval windows. I just thought that was kind of interesting. And here's another game. I can't remember what town this is, but I was, paying attention to these archways and these statues and realizing that you can also have a fairly more traditional, sort of structured look to some of those elements. Here again, we see those elf minarets there, and again, very mosque-like, very, another shot of Rivendell from a different angle. This is nice. Show a little bit of some of this archway here and this roof draping, and another model of that. And we're back. So those were my elf references and some of my Middle East references that I was using. And just before I leave the buildings, I forgot. Actually, here is the piece I was really looking for. And so here I am starting to try to break down these, right? If I want to make one of these and put it all over the place, if I want to make one of these and put it all over the place. But at this point, I'm feeling pretty bad about my sketches. I'm not getting any kind of level of clean design. Me, I don't like this. This is all nut. And this is not, I don't know, I'm not there yet. I don't understand why, but I'm thinking I'm not there. This, in the original building design we were looking way back, looked like the Washington Capitol to me. I was like, I don't want that. I don't know what's going on. So I decided to forget about the big buildings and instead go towards something a little bit smaller. And so I decided to start with windows, doors, and other similar building elements, and basically step back and think about style, because this window would have to have a style to it, and that style can dictate the larger pieces. Instead of trying to work big and come down, I think I need to work small and go out from there. So here I started putting together some different kinds of windows. Not working. Actually, this is kind of interesting now that I look at it, but it's got some issues. One thing I learned is not to, I've been doing some research on Gothic architecture, and don't mix your arches. Don't have, oh gosh, I can't remember the names of these arches. This is, oh man, I'm really tired today, so my brain isn't working well. But I think I have a picture, actually, that'll talk about them. But anyway, don't mix styles. This style with this works. This with this works. This with this, that doesn't work. Don't do that. Now, I really didn't feel like I was getting anywhere, and then I was like, I kind of like this. At this point, I've picked up some drafting tools, right? So I'm doing a little bit better drafting. And once I came up with that previous window, I decided to try to expand on that and explore some other ideas. So this is before I did my research on archways and Gothic architecture. There's a reason why you read and you learn. But so I kind of redid that window, thought about that, decided to try a couple others. These don't work. I don't know. I've been trying. This one, it's kind of simple. Then I did this big one. I want a big bay window, the kind that was curved, in the buildings when we looked at the models. And still, I don't know what's wrong, but it's wrong. And then I was looking and I was like, I kind of like what's going on here. why don't I work with that? So I decided to take those lines, drop this second window, drop these little things, and then have these lines all coming out of these circles, right? All swirling up into this center sort of pattern, and lots of smooth curves, no hard edges. I don't want any sharpness in this. And here is where I started to say, I think I'm onto something. However, when I started to do the doorway, here's a couple more windows. I did this one, and I was like, that is too busy, especially when you compare it, right? This feels open and airy, and this feels crushed and busy, maybe vine-like, I don't know, but wasn't working. And so here I started another sketch that would be much more, sparsely lined. And at this point, I stopped. And I was watching a video, and I realized that I'm working in the 19th, maybe the early 20th century by doing this all by hand. I love pencil and paper. I love putting in the lines and getting out the circle templates and making everything match and erasing with a pencil. I love this, but it's slow. It's slow, and one of my goals was to have this so crisp and precise that I could scan this directly and have it laser cut right from it. That was my initial goal. That's why I've been taking so much care on them. But I have to try to modernize and keep up with the times, so I moved to Inkscape.